The station always sounded sick after midnight. Somewhere behind the walls of Orpheus Ring, giant thermal pipes coughed like dying animals while old gravity engines groaned beneath the floor. Elias Vey sat alone inside Memory Repair Sector 9, surrounded by towers of illegal neural cartridges stacked like dusty books. The air smelled of burnt circuits, machine oil, and instant noodles that had technically expired before he was born. A cracked holographic aquarium flickered beside his desk. The fish inside glitched every 7 seconds and occasionally swam backward through the glass. "Your dinner is becoming self-aware again," the maintenance drone said from above. Elias glanced toward the ceiling. "That's the aquarium." "Then your aquarium is attempting escape." The drone rotated lazily in the air, its metal shell covered with stickers from repair shops that no longer existed. Someone had once painted eyebrows on it. The effect became more judgmental every year. Elias pushed aside a neural memory core and rubbed his tired eyes. How many left? 37 memory reconstructions, 4 emotional stabilizations, and 1 illegal consciousness splice from a customer named Captain Beautiful Beard. That's not his name. It should be. Outside the station window, Earth turned slowly beneath the orbital city, wrapped in storms and electric clouds. Thousands of satellites blinked around the planet like artificial stars. Most of them were dead. Some still transmitted advertisements from corporations destroyed decades ago. "Buy lunar water. Your child deserves clean oxygen. Ascend your memory today." The last slogan remained frozen across the sky for several seconds before vanishing into static. Elias hated that one. He picked up another damaged memory chip and inserted it into the scanner. Instantly, a stranger's memories flooded the holographic display above his desk. Fragments of somebody else's life stitched together in blue light. A child running through synthetic rain, a woman laughing at a restaurant on Mars, a blurry kiss beside a reactor core seconds before an explosion, then screaming. Elias quickly shut the feed off. The room became quiet again except for the station's distant mechanical breathing. "You know," the drone said carefully, "most psychologically healthy humans avoid storing traumatic memories next to their noodles. Most psychologically healthy humans can afford better apartments." Fair point. A loud metallic tremor suddenly passed through the station. The lights flickered red. Elias froze. The drone rotated sharply toward the window. That was not normal. Nothing here is normal. No, this was expensive abnormal. Another tremor followed. This time, the entire repair sector vibrated hard enough to send tools sliding across the desk. Emergency alarms burst alive throughout Orpheus Ring. "Warning, unauthorized vessel approaching." "Warning, unknown biological signature detected." Residents immediately began screaming somewhere in the corridor outside. Someone yelled, "If this is another cult invasion, I'm not paying docking taxes again." Elias stood and moved toward the giant circular window overlooking the outer docking platforms. At first, he saw only darkness. Then the stars moved. No, something enormous was moving between them. The object emerged slowly from the void beyond the station, a massive crescent-shaped vessel unlike anything in the human registry. Its surface wasn't metal. It looked alive. Black-silver material folded and shifted across its hull like breathing skin, while faint pulses of blue light traveled beneath translucent veins running across the structure. The ship had no engines, no visible weapons, no heat signature. It simply drifted closer in complete silence. The station alarms became hysterical. Dock workers scattered across the platforms below. Cargo cranes shut down automatically. Security drones filled the vacuum outside like swarming insects. Elias felt cold, not fear exactly, recognition. Something deep inside his chest tightened as he stared at the vessel. The drone slowly floated beside him. "I would like the official records to show that I always supported leaving this station forever." The living ship stopped directly outside docking gate 12. Then part of its surface opened. not mechanically, like flesh separating. A narrow bridge extended toward the station. One figure stepped out. A woman, tall, motionless, wrapped in dark fabric that shimmered like liquid space itself. Her skin carried a pale silver glow beneath the docking lights, and long strands resembling luminous fibers drifted behind her instead of hair, changing color softly between deep violet and electric blue. But her eyes disturbed him most. Entire constellations moved inside them, not reflections, actual moving stars. She looked directly toward Elias through layers of reinforced glass impossibly far away, and smiled. The station power grid instantly failed for 3 full seconds. When the lights returned, every screen inside Memory Repair Sector 9 displayed the same message automatically. Identity match found, maternal genetic archive detected. Elias stopped breathing. Below the warning text appeared a fingerprint scan, his dead mother's fingerprint. Elias stared at the fingerprint on the screen until the station alarms blended into meaningless noise. His mother's handprint rotated slowly in blue holographic light above the console, every ridge and detail perfectly identical to archived records. 20 years dead. 20 years buried somewhere beyond Neptune, according to official reports. Yet the system showed a 99.9% genetic certainty. The maintenance drone floated closer to the display. "Well," it said quietly, "either your mother returned from the dead, or the universe has finally started recycling fingerprints." Elias swallowed hard. "This isn't possible. I say that at least twice a week on the station." Outside the repair sector, armed security teams rushed toward docking gate 12. Emergency lights painted the corridors in pulsing red waves, while nervous civilians crowded around public screens. Some people were already live-streaming the event across underground networks. Alien girlfriend arrives on Orpheus ring. End of humanity possibly attractive. The internet remained disappointing even at the edge of space. Elias disconnected the fingerprint display with shaking hands, but every nearby monitor immediately reactivated on its own. His mother's scan returned again. Identity match confirmed. The letters distorted suddenly. Then another message appeared underneath. "Hello, Elias." His blood froze. The drone made a disturbed mechanical sound. "I officially dislike this." Elias backed away from the console. "Who accessed the system?" "No external hack detected." "Then where did the message come from?" "I was hoping you knew so I could panic appropriately." A violent tremor passed through the station again. The docking clamps had engaged. The alien vessel was officially connected to Orpheus ring. Seconds later, every communication channel aboard the station activated simultaneously. Thousands of speakers crackled alive across corridors, apartments, bars, gambling dens, and cargo bays. A woman's calm voice echoed through the station. "Please do not be alarmed." A long pause followed. Then distant screaming erupted somewhere nearby. The voice continued, almost confused. "That request appears to have failed." Even Elias laughed despite himself. The woman spoke again. "I am Lyra. I arrived seeking Elias Vey." The repair sector suddenly became very quiet. The drone slowly turned toward him. "Congratulations. Cosmic Horrors know your full name." Before Elias could answer, his door exploded open. 2 station security officers stormed inside wearing magnetic armor and carrying pulse rifles. Behind them stood Chief Administrator Solon, a tired, bald man whose expression permanently looked seconds away from resignation. "You," Solon snapped, pointing at Elias, "why is an alien looking for you?" "I was about to ask the same thing." Solon looked at the floating fingerprint hologram still flickering above the console. His face lost color. "Oh no." "That's exactly what I said," the drone added helpfully. Within minutes, Elias found himself escorted through crowded corridors toward the central docking chamber. Civilians pressed against security barriers, trying to catch glimpses of the visitor. Illegal vendors were already selling glowing souvenirs shaped like the alien ship. One child held up a plush toy with luminous tentacles. "That was fast," Elias muttered. "Capitalism fears nothing," the drone replied. As they descended toward docking gate 12, the air changed. Warmer, almost humid. The walls near the docking chamber were covered in strange silver-black growth spreading from the alien vessel itself. The material pulsed gently like living tissue. Station engineers kept nervously scanning it while refusing to touch anything directly. One engineer whispered, "The walls are growing." Another answered, "I'm requesting vacation immediately." The massive docking doors finally opened. Elias stopped walking. The alien ship towered inside the chamber like a sleeping creature. Up close, the surface looked even stranger, layers of organic metal shifting continuously beneath soft internal light. Parts of the hull expanded and contracted slowly as though breathing, and standing beneath it was Lyra. She turned the moment Elias entered. The moving constellations inside her eyes brightened slightly. For several seconds nobody spoke. Then the maintenance drone floated forward and said, "Before we continue, are you planning to vaporize anyone? Management requires forms." To Elias' surprise, Lyra smiled. "I do not intend vaporization today." "Excellent." Morale improves immediately. Her attention returned to Elias. "You look like her." The words hit harder than he expected. Elias crossed his arms defensively. "You're carrying my mother's fingerprints." Lyra tilted her head slightly, almost studying him. Tiny lights moved beneath her pale skin like distant stars beneath water. "Yes," she answered softly. "I know." The entire docking chamber tensed. Security officers tightened their grip on their rifles. Elias took another step closer. "Who are you?" Lyra hesitated for the first time since arriving. Something uncertain crossed her face. "I have asked myself that question for a very long time." Suddenly, every light in the chamber flickered violently. A burst of static screamed through the station speakers. Then hundreds of dead monitors around the docking bay activated simultaneously. Faces appeared on the screens. Thousands of faces, men, women, children, all whispering at once. Elias felt his stomach twist. The voices merged into one impossible sentence. "The grave of Voices is open." The whispering stopped all at once. Every monitor in the docking chamber went black simultaneously, leaving only the emergency lights glowing across the walls. For several seconds nobody moved. Then one of the security officers quietly vomited inside his helmet. "Professional response," the maintenance drone commented. Chief Administrator Solon looked ready to collapse. "Tell me," he said weakly, "does anyone else suddenly regret working in space?" Nobody answered him. Elias kept staring at the dark screens while his pulse hammered painfully inside his chest. The sentence still echoed in his head. "The grave of voices is open." He looked toward Lyra. What was that? Her expression had changed. The strange calmness she carried earlier was gone now, replaced by visible unease. "That should not have happened." "That is not a comforting sentence." "I know." The living walls of the alien ship pulsed again behind her, dim blue veins flashing beneath the organic metal like nervous system activity. Elias noticed several station technicians slowly backing away from it. One technician whispered, "I think the ship is listening to us." Another replied, "I'm quitting before the walls learn my name." Solon pointed toward Lyra with trembling frustration. "You need to explain exactly what's happening before this station explodes spiritually." Lyra remained silent for a moment. Then she looked directly at Elias again. The message was not meant for them. A cold feeling crawled up his spine. "It was meant for you." Before Elias could answer, the docking chamber lights suddenly shifted from red emergency mode to soft white. The station AI activated overhead. "Attention residents. Anomalous memory events increasing across all districts. Please report any hallucinations, temporal confusion, or extra-dimensional relatives to local authorities. Thank you for your patience." The drone floated beside Elias. "I appreciate how polite the apocalypse is becoming." Then the screams started, not nearby, everywhere. The station-wide communication network erupted with panicked voices all at once. Elias heard terrified civilians shouting through open channels across Orpheus Ring. "My daughter remembers another family. There's someone standing in my apartment that disappeared 30 years ago. Why does my husband suddenly speak ancient Mandarin while asleep?" One transmission crackled louder than the others. "There are stars moving beneath the clouds over Earth." Static swallowed the voice. Solon grabbed his head. This station was already falling apart before the haunted alien arrived. Lyra frowned slightly. "This is spreading faster than expected." Elias turned sharply toward her. "Expected." For the first time, genuine guilt crossed her face. "I came here to stop it." Silence. Then the drone slowly rotated in the air. "Wonderful. We are apparently in the failed prevention stage of the disaster." Lyra stepped closer to Elias. Up close, he noticed details he missed earlier. Tiny symbols moved faintly beneath her skin like living circuitry. Her eyes no longer resembled ordinary eyes at all. Entire galaxies rotated slowly within them, beautiful and deeply unnatural. Yet despite all of it, something about her expression felt painfully human, tired, lonely, familiar. "You knew my mother," Elias said quietly. Lyra hesitated, then nodded once. The docking chamber became still again. "She was called Envoy aboard the archive expeditions," Lyra said softly. "But that was not the first name she carried." Elias felt his chest tighten instantly. "My mother worked on cargo navigation." "That is what your governments told the public." Anger flared inside him. Then what was she really doing? Lyra looked toward the stars beyond the docking bay. She was searching for dead civilizations. The words settled heavily in the room. Elias remembered fragments suddenly. His mother disappearing for months when he was young. Strange symbols hidden inside her notebooks. The way she sometimes stared at the night sky like she recognized something waiting there. And the nightmares. Always the nightmares. He remembered waking as a child to hear her speaking unknown languages in her sleep. The drone interrupted his thoughts. "To clarify," it said carefully, "are we discussing normal dead civilizations or nightmare ancient cosmic intelligence dead civilizations?" Lyra glanced at it. "The second one." "Excellent. Consistency matters." Suddenly, Elias' wrist console activated by itself. One file appeared on the screen. "Classified Archive, ELIANVEY. Access restricted." Then another line slowly typed itself beneath it. "He deserves the truth." Elias froze. That sentence. The phrasing. His mother used to say those exact words whenever she argued with station officials. Lyra noticed his expression immediately. "You heard her say that before." "How do you know that?" She opened her mouth to answer, and suddenly collapsed. Every light inside her body flared violently blue. Security officers raised their weapons instantly. The alien ship behind her reacted at the same time. The organic walls trembled as low vibrations spread through the docking chamber floor. Lyra gasped sharply, clutching her head. Elias instinctively stepped toward her. "What's happening?" Her voice came out distorted now, layered with another voice underneath. Older, familiar. "Elias." He stopped breathing. It sounded exactly like his mother. The drone whispered, "I deeply hate this." Lyra lifted her head slowly. Tears streamed down her face despite her expression remaining confused, almost frightened. "I remember you," she whispered. Elias stared at her in horror. "What?" "I remember your 8th birthday." Her voice trembled. "You dropped the cake because you were afraid of the candles." His blood turned cold. Nobody knew that memory. Nobody. Lyra's glowing eyes widened as if she herself realized what she had just said. Then all power aboard Orpheus Ring failed instantly. Darkness swallowed the station. Darkness swallowed Orpheus Ring for exactly 11 seconds. In those 11 seconds, Elias heard things no human mind was meant to hear. Millions of whispers. Fragments of extinct languages. Memories from lives he had never lived. He saw oceans beneath purple skies. cities floating inside gas giants, machines praying beside burning suns, entire civilizations dying while their thoughts were preserved somewhere vast and eternal. Then the station lights returned. People across the docking chamber collapsed to their knees, gasping for air. Several security officers were crying openly. One technician stared at his hands and whispered, "I think I used to be married on another planet." The maintenance drone floated sideways in the air. I personally experienced 4 existential crises simultaneously. Lyra remained frozen in front of Elias, trembling violently. The blue light beneath her skin pulsed erratically now, almost unstable. "It's awake," she whispered. Above the station, space itself began changing. The stars moved, not metaphorically. Entire constellations slowly shifted position beyond the station windows, as if reality were being rewritten around Orpheus Ring. Panic erupted instantly across communication channels. Earth's satellites are turning themselves on. The oceans are glowing. Something huge just appeared behind the moon. Solon looked seconds away from death. I knew I should have become a farmer. Elias barely heard any of it. He was staring at Lyra. Or rather at the fragments of his mother hidden inside her. "You're carrying her memories," he said quietly. Lyra nodded slowly, tears running down her face. "Your mother entered the grave of voices 20 years ago. The archive took pieces of her mind to preserve itself." The archive. The grave of voices is alive, Elias. It feeds on memory. Entire civilizations placed themselves inside it to escape extinction. Her voice weakened, but something else was sleeping there. The station suddenly shook violently. A deep sound echoed through space itself, not noise, but something closer to thought. Elias felt it inside his skull, calling him. The giant holographic screens across the docking bay activated again. This time they displayed a single image, a human brain. Inside it glowed one tiny star. Lyra looked terrified. "That is the final memory." Elias slowly understood. His mother had hidden something inside him before she disappeared. Not information. A lock. The ancient entity awakening beyond reality needed one final memory pattern to fully emerge, and somehow his mind carried it. The maintenance drone rotated nervously. "I miss when my biggest concern was your cooking." Outside the station windows, enormous shapes became visible, moving between the stars. Vast silhouettes larger than moons drifting silently through darkness. Every person aboard Orpheus Ring suddenly froze. Thousands of civilians looked upward simultaneously, remembering. Elias saw strangers begin speaking dead languages. Some collapsed from overwhelming floods of inherited memories. Others laughed hysterically while describing alien worlds they had never visited. Humanity was becoming connected to the grave of voices, and it was spreading fast. Lyra grabbed Elias' hand suddenly. "You must destroy the memory inside you." "What happens if I do?" "The archive closes forever." "And my mother?" Pain crossed her face. The remaining fragments of her disappear with it. Elias looked down silently. For 20 years he had carried anger toward a woman who vanished without answers. Now he finally understood. She had sacrificed herself to stop something unimaginable. And somehow, even after death, she was still trying to protect him. The docking chamber trembled harder. Metal walls bent inward as gravity distorted around the station. The giant shapes outside were getting closer. Solon looked at Elias desperately. "Please tell me someone has a plan." Elias took a slow breath. Then he smiled faintly for the first time in years. "I think my mother left one." He turned toward Lyra. "If I erase the memory, you disappear too, don't you?" Lyra hesitated, then nodded once. The silence between them hurt more than he expected. Despite everything unnatural about her, she carried pieces of the only family he had left. The drone floated beside him quietly. "For what it's worth," it said softly, "your life became significantly more interesting recently." Elias laughed weakly. "That's one way to describe cosmic psychological collapse." Then he walked toward the neural interface chamber beside the docking controls. Emergency, sirens screamed around him while stars twisted beyond the station windows. For the first time in years, Elias no longer felt small. He felt necessary. He connected the neural cables to his temples. Instantly, the grave of voices opened inside his mind. He saw his mother standing within endless darkness filled with floating memories. She smiled gently. "You finally stopped hiding," she said. Elias felt tears burn his eyes. "You could have told me the truth. I wanted you to live a normal life. We lived on a collapsing orbital station full of illegal memory dealers." Normalish. He laughed despite himself. Even here, she still sounded like his mother. The ancient presence beyond reality roared through the darkness around them, demanding the final memory. Elias looked at her one last time. Then he deleted it. Light exploded through the station. Every screen shattered simultaneously. The enormous shapes beyond the stars froze, then slowly vanished. The whispers stopped. Across Earth, billions of stolen memories faded peacefully away. The grave of voices closed, and Lyra disappeared with it. 3 months later, Orpheus' ring was quieter, not fixed, never fixed, but alive. Elias reopened Memory Repair Sector 9, this time legally, which disappointed many criminals. The maintenance drone floated above him as usual. "You're smiling more now," it observed. "Am I?" "It's unsettling." Outside the station window, Earth turned peacefully beneath the stars. Elias no longer searched the sky for answers. Some mysteries, he finally understood, were not meant to be solved forever, only survived. On his desk sat one final object left behind after Lyra vanished, a small silver memory fragment glowing faintly blue. Sometimes late at night, it played a woman's laughter he knew by heart. And for the first time since childhood, hearing it